taking time today to listen to what we have to say about this amazing business opportunity. You know, we understand that the greatest gift you can give someone is time, because when you give your time, you're giving a portion of your life that you will never get back. And we don't take that lightly, and we really appreciate it. Whoever invited you to this cares deeply about you. They believe you can do very, very well at what we have to offer, or they wouldn't have sent you this. So let's get started. What I call what we do is private franchising. It's bridging the gap between the producer and the consumer to share the profit. Now, we're not a brick and mortar business. We're not going to ask you to buy thousands of dollars worth of products. We're not going to ask you to go work 40, 50 hours a week. This is strictly part-time if that's what you want to do. It can be full-time. I'm full-time right now. But I wasn't full-time in the beginning because I needed to eat, and we were deeply, deeply in debt. So I needed to work my job and do what I needed to do to feed the family, but I made my money from 5 to 10. I worked a couple hours extra a night. In fact, we worked probably 6 to 10 hours a week. If you can do that, you can do whatever, you can have and do whatever you want in this business. So private franchising, I think you're going to be quite intrigued when we get through this. It's only going to take a few minutes, so don't think you're going to sit there for half an hour. But let's get going. Private franchising statistics. Our company has helped more than 140 families earn over $1 million in their career. We've helped more than 170,000 people earn over $1,000 or more in a month. We've also helped more than 250,000 people earn $500 or more a month. Now you notice I don't tell you everybody's making 5 or 10 or 20 grand a month. I'm not even going to go there, because I don't know, if you're like me, I've seen enough of this. People, every day I get phone calls. Get rich tomorrow. Get rich next week. How should I put $10,000 next week into your bank account and all this stuff? You know, I'm not here to tell you that. You can have whatever you want with this business, but it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a business that you can share with your family, that you can give to your family if you ever decide to retire. I was traveling down the road. I was a manufacturer's rep in the carpet business, and I'm driving back from Wausau, Wisconsin. I lived in Minneapolis at the time, and I'm driving back, and I'm thinking, you know, what happens if something were to happen to me? I was 49 years old, deeply in debt, manufacturer's rep. I had 2 boys wanting to go to college, and I promised them I'd help them if they got great grades. Well, they were good kids, and they did get great grades. But Dad wasn't going to be able to take care of his end of the deal, and that bothered me. And I also thought about whatever happened. You know, if a good friend of mine had just gotten in an accident and he was laid up for a while and he got laid off, and it's like, what would happen if I got in an accident, you know, with the wife and the kids and the family? I didn't know what would happen. I knew this, that the company I was working for was strictly commission, and there was no way they were going to pay my wife if I couldn't work. I knew that. So I knew I needed to change some things in my life. The problem was I was pretty stubborn. And I just, you know, I've got a hard time listening. But I've learned to listen, and hopefully you see some things I didn't in the beginning. It took 4 times for me to look at this before I understood it. But hey, we're not going to try to convince you to do something you don't want to do, but we are here to help you if you want to do it. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And I think you'll understand that when I'm done. The goal for today is to leave you with some understanding and have a better understanding of what we do, the industry we're in, the approaches to sales aids, and learn some new skills. If you just learn some new skills from this, it'll help you in your other profession, whatever that may be. But the big question is, why are you here? Why are you listening to it? Now, obviously somebody gave you this phone number or sent you this video. They care deeply about you. They really do, or they wouldn't have sent you this. Because in our business, we're not trying to show this to the world. We're trying to show it to 3 to 5 people who will change our lives, the people that sent you this, and your life. That's all you need. My 5 people have turned into 160,000 people in 43 countries, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But it's not because I'm that good. And you need to understand that. As you can tell, I'm not a professional speaker. In fact, I hate it. I flunked speech class, so I do not like doing this. In fact, I about threw the computer through the wall a couple of times. I had to start over about 5 times. Hopefully I do a good enough job on this that I can get my points across and give you great hope. If I can do it, anybody can do it. What's your why? Is it time freedom? Escape the rat race, impact people's lives. Unhappy with your job? 90% of the people are. I wasn't. I loved my job. Problem was, they kept changing the deal on me. The territories changed, the commissions changed, and there wasn't a great retirement. I needed a retirement with the way life was. And with insurance and things like that for health insurance, I knew I needed something. I just didn't know what. And to be honest with you, I was just too stubborn to think about anything else. I don't know, you could say I was a know-it-all. Just what's the bottom line for you? Why are you listening to this? The one thing we all have in common is 24 hours in the day. We're all trying to become financially independent. How's your life going? Do you feel like you're going 10 feet forward and 10 feet back like me? That's where I was in life. Maybe this makes sense, maybe it doesn't. But think about that. Where are you going to be 10 years from now if you don't change what you're doing today? That was the brutal truth I had to look at. We all get paid in accordance to how much work we put in. We know that. That's God's law. That's the way it is. The harder we work, the harder the farmer works, the more money he makes. The more he plants, the more he gets. And that's just the way it is. But there are things in life that you and I don't have control over. We don't have control over our bosses. We don't have control over the economy. We don't have control over whose political parties are in the offices that control our lives. We don't have control over that. But we do have control over what we do. And I think when you understand that, this will make a lot of sense for you. There's 3 ways to make money. That's it, that are legal. 3 ways. And you can put everything in each one of these categories. There's hours for dollars. What's in that category? Just about everybody. Lawyers, doctors, dentists. Everything I can think of is hours for dollars. Now, some people may get paid by the month, and some people may make commission. But the fact of the matter is, if you're like I was, they only let you make so much. And when you make that ceiling, when you hit that ceiling where the bosses don't want you to be, they know you're going to take it a little easy. They know. My boss always said to me, he was happy when I bought a new car. He was happy when I bought a new house. Why? Because I had to work harder. If I had to work harder, I'd make more money. If I made more money, he made more money. So he liked that. And there's a lot of truth to that. The problem is when they see you going to Hawaii for 2 weeks with your family or whatever your Hawaii is, they don't like that. They want you working for them. Investments. Well, I don't know if you've been watching the stock market. A lot of people made a lot of money in the stock market. A lot of people have lost a lot of money in the stock market. I've had it both ways. But what's the stock market doing? It's pretty hilly right now. I've lost a lot of money in the 80s. I lost a lot of money in the 90s. I'll tell you what, you only make it back so many times. The young people today in the 20s and 30s who watch the stock market, they've never seen really hard times. And boy, I've stood in line for gas and waited for hours to get gas in 80, 81. It was bad. Interest rates were 17 to 20%. Now, that's not the way it is today. But is the economy really good out there? Do the young people, are they able to go out and get $80,000, $100,000 jobs like they're promised in college? I don't think so. I think we've got a perfect opportunity for them. There's a lot of sharp young people coming out of college that don't know where to go. I've seen it over and over. I meet a lot of people, and I see these kids, and they are sharp, but they just don't know which ends up. And that's what I think is the key to what we have. Franchising. Think about franchising. Do you have $1 million to put in a McDonald's or $100,000 for this or that or any other franchise you want? I didn't have that. Plus, if you do that, you know you're going to work 5 years and make zero money and put it all back into the business and probably work 80, 100 hours a week. Most people won't do that. I didn't want to do that. At 49 years old, I'd worked pretty hard, and I was still, I'm going to say I was broke. I wasn't broke, but I sure was cash broke. I had a lot of property, but I was cash broke. There's 2 ways to market any product. Figure 25 cents out of every dollar goes for manufacturing. That's a little high in some things, but 10% to 25% is what it costs to manufacture something. But by the time it gets to the consumer at the retail level, you've got the sales rep, you got the wholesaler, you got the retailer who take their chunk, either 75 to 90%. That's the part we work on. We've got the manufacturer. We've got the company that inventories the product. They ship the product for us. They do everything for us. It's equal partnership. Our product is our way to market a product is equal partnership. It's manufacturing, factory the 50%. Our company keeps 50%. They pay out 50%. We don't have to have a building. We don't have to invest thousands of dollars. We don't have to buy all this inventory and ship it and do all the things. We don't do any of that. All we need to do is talk to people. We give them samples. If they have interest, great. We thank them. We're doing 4 things here, and that's all we're doing. We're looking for people that are looking for more money or better health. We give them some samples. We follow up with them, and we put them on the phone with one of our support system managers. That's it. Now, if you can do that, if you can do a simple program, 1, 2, 3, 4, and do that over and over and over and over, life will be very good to you. It's been great to us because of this, and it seems so simple. If you're like me, most of us think, oh, it can't be that simple. I'm here to tell you it is, but you have to do the work. Is it simple work? No, because some of us have to get out of our comfort zone. I didn't like calling people on the phone. I was nervous about it. It was easy to walk into a carpet store, but to call a friend or whatever. But when I figured out all it is sampling people and asking for their opinion, it was like, whoa, unbelievable things started happening. So we've got an equal partnership with manufacturer and the factory. They ship the product for us. They take care of all the bookkeeping. We've got our own websites that are free. We've got all that sort of thing, and all we do is hand out samples. Remember, you're looking for somebody that's looking for more money or better health. You're looking to give them some information to get their opinion and for them to try. Number 3, you follow up with them. And number 4, you put them on a team call or with someone that's helping you. It's a pretty system. We got a system-based. We put money to work for everyone, and it's people-based. It's called an opportunity. That's your asset. People are your asset. You don't have to buy them. You're looking. How many people do you know that aren't looking for more money or better health? I don't know anybody. Everybody I know is looking for a better way. They're looking for more money or better health. And the 65-year-olds, I'm going to be 63 in May. I would give anything to be 40 again. But I don't have 40 again. So I'm very, very stressed about the time I have left. I'm on the backside of this thing called life. And I love this because you can take 40 years of work and do 40 years of work, or you can do something like this, working with people you know and love, and you can create an asset that will pay you for the rest of your life as long as you do the work. Is it easy? No, but it's simple. I don't see any problem with handing a sample to somebody and saying, hey, Mike, give me a shot here to try this product and tell me what you think. That's as simple as it gets. Our company is in 43 countries. The sun never sets on our company shores where we do business. Think about this. You look at this map. Now, there's been 3 or 4 countries that have added since this map. But think about knowing somebody in South Africa, and you're in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, or Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or Las Vegas, or Los Angeles. And you can call them up, send them a sample, they try the product. They say, yeah, I'd like to try some of that product, Rich. And they try that product. And if they have interest, great. If they don't, that's fine. It doesn't matter. You just send them a sample. You know, the gal at the restaurant, she doesn't start crying if we don't want coffee, if she asks us if we want coffee. So if your friend doesn't want to try the product, great. Now, I didn't mention we do have a patented product. Nobody else can have it. So you've got a patented product that you can market in 43 countries and get paid on it like they're next door. You don't have to ship it. You don't have to You don't have to inventory it. You don't have to do the bookkeeping on it. You don't have to collect the money, and you don't have to give them the warranty. The company does. If they don't like the product, they give them their money back. Now, I don't know about you, but try to bring a steak back to the butcher and ask them for their money back. It's pretty tough after you've eaten it, but this company will do it. You've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, they're not going to let you buy $100,000 worth of stuff. In fact, they wouldn't let you buy that anyway. But even $1,000 worth of stuff, they're not going to make you do that. I mean, if you buy 50, $100 worth of product, or a couple of hundred, or whatever it may be, we've got products from $6 up to $200. If you don't like a product, they give your money back. I've never worked with a company like that. So you can see the size of this. This is not one of those little bitty deals. The goal isn't more money. That's not my goal. As I told you, I'm going to be 63 years old. The goal is living life on your terms. I'm trying to live my life on my terms. Spend more time with my lovely wife, who I've been married to 40 years, spending time with grandkids, and working when I want to work instead of when the boss tells me to work. There's one thing I know. This probably sealed it for me. If you think about this, this is a 2000 USA Census Bureau, and it's worse than this today. At age 65, 95% of the people in the U.S. are dead broke, or still working. Think about that. This isn't you and I talking. This isn't me saying this to you. Go to any financial planner. Go to the U.S. Census Bureau. Look these up through the insurance logs. This is what life is. 95% of the people are dead broke, or still working at 65. I didn't like that statistic. Those are the people you're talking to. 4% are financially okay. Well, I wasn't a ball player. I wasn't a lawyer. I wasn't a doctor. I was not a professional. I sold carpet. I called on carpet stores. I called on people like Home Depot and people like that. You know, I wasn't a professional type person. All I did is carry samples in and sell them. I was never going to be in that 4%. You know something? It took me till I was 49 years old to understand that. With my kids getting ready to graduate from school, and the 1%, I didn't have a chance for that. I wasn't a ball player. I wasn't a $1 million athlete. This can change all that for you. I promise you that. Now, do you have to work? Absolutely. Is this a get-rich-quick deal? No. But it can go pretty fast. You can condense time frames from a 40-year span to a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5-year span. I know it because I've seen hundreds of people do it. And everyone I've seen do it, most of them were broke. You know, I don't know if you ever watched Shark Tank, but I'll tell you what, Damon said one time, there's something really good about being broke, because it makes you work. And it sure made me work. It sure made me change my opinion about myself. I turned out not being so cocky. I turned out not being so stubborn. I started listening to some people that had walked the walk that I hadn't walked. And, you know, that's there for all of us. I know that now. I've seen people do very, very well. I hope you'll join us. I hope you'll take the time and get back to the person that sent you this. There's going to be another one of these videos. And one of my buddies, one of my dear, dear friends, his name's Ray Heron. And he was personally mentored by a man by the name of Jim Rohn. You look up Jim Rohn and see if you know him, you love him. But Ray Heron has become a dear, dear friend of mine. And he said this to me, and this has made me a fortune. He said they were trying to get me to go to look at this, and it was the 5th time, and I'd gotten in, but I hadn't done anything, and the person that brought me in was a doctor, and Ray said to me, I got mad and hung up on this other guy, and he called me back, and I said to him, I said this, or Ray said this to me. He said, Richard, he said, at least know what you're saying no to before you say no. Understand what you're going to miss. And if you say no, I'll never bother you again. And I thought about it. Now, he didn't know how deeply in debt I was. He didn't know I had 2 boys that were, you know, a couple years from graduation. He didn't know those things. He didn't know I owed $3 million I had $3 million in real estate. He didn't know I owed a ton of money. He didn't know any of those things. But what he said, it was like a knife in the heart. It was the truth, and I didn't want to hear it. But it made all the sense in the world to me. So hopefully I didn't bore you too much here, and we really appreciate you taking time. Call the person that called put you on this phone and send you this video and just say I want to take the next step. We appreciate you, and we'll see you down the road. I'd love to meet you. Thank you.